Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast, and we are wrapping up this work week with a Friday night NBA slate. Got a couple of videos out there for you and our player props. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. We will be throwing a gift card opportunity at you in that player props video, and Nate does have another great article up on playpicks.com, couple best bets and player props in there as well. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight. Nate, let's jump into it.
Yeah, right now, Clippers are minus 3.5 at the Pelicans since they're coming off a loss in Memphis last night. Pretty short trip over there to New Orleans. The total is sitting at 216. And we've got a lot of games to choose from on a Friday night, per usual. Warriors on the second leg of a back-to-back in Detroit are 7-point favorites. The Pacers +2 at Hornets. Kind of a low total there for the Hornets game, 214. Lakers +1.5 at Celtics. We'll have an episode up about that one. Lots of big injury news to monitor. Magic are +12 at the Nets. Thunder are +12 at the Bucks. Yuck. Bulls +3 at Nuggets. And the Mavs, without Luka, I think, again, +8 at Suns. Exact rematch there. Raptors +3 at Kings. But I think the most exploitable thing tonight is the Clippers game, and mea culpa for suggesting we take the Clippers last night at Memphis. The Grizzlies finally got back on course and handled business in that matchup. But that's why you're getting so much value tonight, because the Pelicans happen to capitalize on the Grizzlies' struggles with a rare win. In fact, their only win in the last 12 games. And so now the public or odds makers or someone is thinking, well, if the Pelicans beat the Grizzlies and then the Grizzlies beat the Clippers twice, then the Pelicans could win at home. And then no, that's not going to happen. The Clippers will bounce back. They should bounce back. They have shown great resiliency on the road since last season. Great resiliency on short rest. They're 10-3-1 against the spread going back to last season when playing on 0 days rest. They're 20-14-1 when road favorites on the road, and 2-0 to start this year in that stretch. And even with the loss to Memphis, they still have the second best defensive rating in the league. In their last 10 games, they're still fourth in defensive rating and fifth in net rating. And guess where the Pelicans are in that 10-game stretch? Dead last in just about everything, including giving up the most points per game, about 113, and the second highest three-point percentage, about 40%. So that's really just food to cannon fodder for this Clippers offense that likes to spread you out, shoot threes, and definitely push the pace against a Clippers team that has no depth really and very little to threaten you with on the other end.
Yeah, a Pelicans team. Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is interesting. It's an interesting part of the season, too, in terms of where we're at. Most teams playing around, right, like 14, 15, 16 games at this point. And so now you start to get, sample sizes of games in a row where it's not just one long marathon where everyone plays the same way for the entire season. There's different ups and downs and different, there's different momentum pockets and things of that nature. And we now have enough sample size with all of these teams to go, okay, we know, we've seen a couple different iterations of this team. We've seen the same Pelicans team all season. And you can talk about what happens when Zion comes back, but they're probably the worst team in the league right now. I mean, record-wise, Houston has one less win, but you put these teams against each other and it's a coin flip. So they're at least one of the 2-3 worst teams in the league, and it shows everywhere, across the stat, in every stat that they have. And the Clippers, I think they're a bit of a mirage. I do think they've been playing above their pay grade, to be honest. I think you look at some of the games that they won in that stretch where they won about 6 in a row. They have won, roughly 7 of 9 or 8 of their last 10. And that's fine, but they haven't beaten that much quality, in my opinion. Still, this is a game where this is a get right game for you after, somewhat of a disappointing loss in Memphis. I think they expected better. But it's crazy to me that this spread started at 5 points for the Clippers, and people have been betting on it enough to get it to about 3.5 in some places, betting for the Pellies. It's wild to me because of what you said. Maybe there's some transitive property, but then you look at the matchup itself too, and it's like, New Orleans doesn't do anything well. They get some offensive rebounds. They're in the top 10 there. You got Joe Val. That's nice. But you also miss so many shots that, of course, you have more chances for offensive rebounds when you shoot 42% from the field as a team, and roughly 34% from three as a team. They're averaging about 101.5 points a game. So I'm starting with their team total tonight. Go ahead and get that. Don't worry about that spread with the Clippers. I'll go ahead and lay those points. That's fine. I also don't think that with the defense of the Clips, the Pellies are going to be able to score 107.5 points. They're averaging 101. I'm not really sure what would give you against the second best defensive rated team in the league, giving up 101.5 points a game. Why would you assume that they're going to get to 107 tonight or 108 even? So smash that under for me in this one. And like I said, even what they do well, they get some offensive rebounds because they miss so many shots. LA gets the fourth most defensive rebounds, and they limit their opponents to offensive rebounds to the tune of the top 10 in the NBA as well. And at the end of the day, this is going to come down to two guys that can put the ball in the basket in Reggie Jackson and Paul George, as well as Bledsoe when he's in there. I'll give him that. Gets the ball in the basket this year. And there's one guy on the other side of the ball for the Pellies in terms of Brandon Ingram, who's having a nice season, shooting, really well from three, career best and all that, above 42%. That's wonderful in 9 games. This team has nothing else and is also, by the way, bottom in the league in bench points. Another reason why I would just say, even when they do come out in the first quarter and have a nice quarter, by the time you get to the middle or the end of the second, you're right back to where you started for the Pellies,
Yeah, it's interesting you say they're kind of playing above their pay grade, or it does feel a little tentative taking the Clippers because they're so dependent on those two guys who to score in isolation a lot with Reggie and Paul George. And you look at the recent results, they've lost their last 2 games against the Pelicans because Paul George went 15 points and 9 points, 1 for 8, 1 for 6 from 3. The previous 2 they won, he shot a combined 13 for 20 from 3. So it is basically just a make or miss league for that guy tonight. As I would look right at the player performance doubles on FanDuel, say we need 25 points, or we need 3-4 threes from Paul George for the Clippers to get this win. And he'll probably come out with it. I mean, he's having a great season, been shooting the hell out of the ball on the road, actually better splits than at home. And against a Pelicans team that just lacks defensive presence on the wing, he should have his way tonight. They should bounce back with a win.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel more comfortable about taking the under that team total for the Pellies just because of what you said. The Clippers, they've been consistent on defense, right? The top 2 team in defense this year in their rating. It's those dry spells when one of those 2 guys is not scoring between Paul George and Arjax that's when they run into those offensive woes. And although they've hit 4 overs in their last 6, I do feel like the trend for them and their scoring is down a bit, and they're going to become, they're still going to stick to their identity as that defensive stopper team and not really anybody that can get up and down the floor. So that is all the time that we have for today on this one, Nate. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page, as we are going to have a gift card opportunity for you in our player props video today as well. And until we see you next, happy betting.